Welcome to Stuck in My Mind podcast, the show where we dive into the mind of a regular guy on his road to self-discovery. You'll hear everyday people just like you share the latest topics, personal stories, and things they've learned along the way. And now, please welcome your host, Wise.
And welcome to another episode. I am your host, Wize. My next guest, she's a mom, a fellow podcaster, a gymnast guru, a big-time entrepreneur, public speaker. She has so many, I don't know how she does it, but she has so many titles. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Nicole Langevin.
Oh, you're frozen on my end.
Hi.
You froze.
Oh, no, I'm frozen now.
All right, want to try that again?
Hello, welcome to the show, Nicole. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, no problem. So that G is a J. I've toyed around with
Langevin.
with just spelling it with a J to nip it right there. But yeah, it's the J sound.
Langevin. Okay.
Yeah.
That works. So because I have a lot of coaches and entrepreneurs, but it's you're a mom, you're an entrepreneur. How do you juggle all this?
Oh, freaking
And a
out.
podcaster.
Yeah, I thank you. Yeah, I have 3 businesses in the gymnastics industry, and I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, and then decided this year, hey, let's just throw a podcast in the mix and see what happens. So, yeah, it's a lot, but I think that when you're doing things that you care about and you're passionate about, you find the room,
Yeah, you definitely find the time to do it. I started my podcast last year. I've been going on, and for me, it's just fun. It's just it's therapeutic for me. I get to sit here, listen to some great speakers. I get to pick some great nuggets from some amazing people. So I get to learn while I'm doing something I love. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And as a parent, it's like I just crave having a freaking conversation with another adult sometimes. No offense, children, if you're listening, but sometimes so now it's kind of nice that I have to go downstairs and quote unquote have to have conversations with fascinating adults. So it's definitely filled something that was missing anyway.
yeah, for me it was. I didn't even know. I've been wanting to start a podcast, but it was going to be more of sports and entertainment, and I was going to do it with a friend of mine, and him and his girlfriend got pregnant, so that kind of squashed that.
Yeah.
So I just started a podcast, and then it has nothing to do with sports or entertainment. It's more geared towards learning and helping people develop and grow, and just put out some positive content.
Nice. Yeah, there's a need for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of need for that. So, gymnast guru. So 3 businesses that have to do with gymnastics.
Yeah, so I was a gymnast for a very long time and went on into coaching, like many athletes do, go into coaching the sport that they spent so much time in. And I ran a junior Olympic program out in Southern California for quite a long time, and just always had this feeling like I needed to reach more athletes outside those 4 walls. And while coaching was extremely fulfilling, and I feel like that's where I learned a lot of most of what I do now was from that just over a decade of doing that at the grassroots level on a day-to-day basis. But I like I said, I always had this sense of like there's something else though. There's something outside these 4 walls. So long story short, developed a company called Precision Choreography where I would travel around and do choreography for gymnasts. And that snowballed into bringing in other high profile former gymnasts. Alicia Sacramone is one. She's a 10-time world medalist and Olympic team captain. She came in, she liked what I was doing, and she joined me. And now this little thing has turned into quite the big thing. I've got about 30 contractors around the country, most of which have been on the US national team or have been Olympians themselves or world team members. And they are following and sharing my mission of raising the level of excellence in gymnastics. So it's not just me anymore. I got a whole crew, and we run training camps, we do coaches education, choreography. And then I've also started judging gymnastics, and while doing that, developed another business called My Gym Judge, which is where we break the wall between the athletes and coaches and the judges. And most sports have like some sort of either judge or ref or something like that. And typically when you're on the on the field of play, let's say, you can't really have conversations with them and try to figure out why they're making the judgment calls that they are. So what we do is we actually break that wall, and outside of the field of play, outside of the competitions, they can actually connect directly with judges and get feedback on how to improve their scores. And I co-own that with a three-time world champion Chelsea Memel. And then my third business is I'm an agent for freelance gymnastics professionals who basically want to do the same thing, get outside their four walls and connect with athletes and coaches all over the place. Did I lose you?
I am back.
There. I was like, he hated that answer, I guess.
No. Oh man, I'm having technical difficulties, but that's
That's
that's what I.
what editing's for.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it really is.
Mm.
That's fine, and it's cool because it when I don't when I because I just started video,
Mhm.
but I've mainly been audio, and it records in separate tracks, like
Yeah.
right. So that's why I love StreamYard.
Yeah, I might need to make a switch. I was gonna ask you that outside of the show, what you felt about it.
Yeah. All right, but we're back.
Yeah. Yeah, we're back.
I know she had a whole bunch of answers.
Did you get all that?
Oh, I'm sure it did. It's
All right,
fine.
cool.
We're gonna go on to the next one.
All right.
All right. So, what can you tell someone out there who's on the fence about starting a business? If what pushed you to want to just go out and start a business? Like, what can you tell someone that's really on the fence about starting their own business? Because you know how people are. Sometimes they're afraid to step out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't do it the normal way where I was like, I want to start a business. What should I do? It was more of following this kind of gut sense, this passion of I just want to master everything about this sport that I love so much and share it with as many people as I possibly can. That's what I wanted to do. And through doing that, literally walking into gyms and saying, how can I help? Um and saying yes to, speaking at things, then it started to develop into I was doing a thing that people knew about, so I thought, "Oh, I should probably slap a name on it." And so my kind of path to doing that was a little strange, and I did it on the side while I already had a full-time job. So that, and I didn't have a family at that point either. There weren't it was only me to worry about, right? So if I miss a few meals because 'cause I'm trying to make this thing happen, like no harm, no foul, right? So I think that the timing had to be right as well. But I would also say, uh, committing to what you're doing and also being really, really honest with yourself about what are you good at and what are you not good at. That's huge because you can really waste a lot of time running a business if you're doing the things that you aren't that great at. Because if you're not that great at them, then you're not efficient at them. and time is money, and so you're wasting money. So one of the big lessons that I've learned these last few years is to delegate and give myself space to focus on the areas that I thrive in, and have other people work on the things that I don't thrive in, and that can be done a lot quicker, and not use my time to do. So, but yeah, I think it's got to start with some sort of passion, and whether that passion is wanting to just interact with people on your own terms, on your own hours, or if it's, following some sort of passion like a sport or something like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. For me, like I said, I didn't know I was gonna really fall in love with being behind the mic. It's just once I got behind it and started, and once I pressed record, finally, like all the fears and all the excuses I had made up for not recording just went out the window, and I found that, hey, I have a voice. I have something I can share with people, and people are actually tuning in and listening. And at first, it wasn't like that.
Mhm.
It was funny because I couldn't find anyone. It was like I would join so many different groups at first to find guests, and then I made some connections, and then I started getting guests on, and then people started sending me messages like, "Hey, I like this show. I would like to be. I think I'd be a perfect fit for your show." I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it went from me really looking around, and people be like, one of the first questions that it was how many people, how many views or how many downloads do you have? Or I'm like, look, I just started, man. I'm
Right.
new. I don't. And they're like, oh, no, thank you. But then as the time went on and numbers started growing, and I started actually having more guests on, and having, and it was me being consistent with it. At
Yeah.
first, I took a month between episodes, and then I started churning them out 2 to 3 episodes a week. And I realized the more episodes I put out, the more people wanted, the more people consumed quicker.
Yeah.
So it was me being more consistent and applying that to what I was doing. And I'm still growing and developing, and still need to work on some things. But that's the beauty of this, is to learn and grow.
Yep, and it's nice that you can get all that content out, and people can discover it a year later. That's what's so cool about this format. You can, you go as fast as you possibly can, but it doesn't go anywhere after the fact, and I love that people can go discover a new show and binge it, to catch up, and that's always sitting there waiting for them.
Yeah.
And you definitely have a voice for the microphone, sir.
Thank you. And but I didn't know this. It wasn't, because to me, I sound weird to myself, and I guess that's everybody. That's everyone. Everyone thinks they sound hideous. Like one of them, like, who the hell would want to listen to me? And then everybody goes like, "Yo, dude, you have a great voice. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Huh? No, I sound terrible." Like, no, no,
No, but also
no.
when you're editing your own stuff too, you're listening to your own voice over and over and over again, and the things that I've discovered about the way that I speak are like, they haunt me now. I hear there's these few little
It's
things that
hard.
I didn't realize I say all the time, and it's like, now I got a complex walking around on a daily basis, just, so used to hear myself.
Oh! Listen, when I first started editing my episodes, and I started watching TV interviews, and once I started doing interviews and talking to people, and the and all that, and I started watching TV, and I started watching other people get interviewed, and I see their and their and all that.
Right?
I'm like, everybody does this, man. It's like,
Uh-huh.
it's okay. It's all right. It's okay if I leave a couple of and in there. That happens.
Yep.
It's like, no, ain't nobody perfect.
Yep. No, you're so right. That's the first thing I do is I go through and I cut most of the ums, but you're right. Try to keep a couple because you want to sound like you're having a natural conversation. But
Yes.
I was always under the impression that the people that are really, really well spoken and really seasoned in speaking and in doing interviews, they don't ever say that. But you're right. And now because of doing this, I'm going, wait a second, everybody does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like professionals. Like, I'm watching Michael Strahan or somebody else. I'm like, oh man, he messes up all the time, man. Oh man. I'm like, and I'm trying to be perfect here. Like,
Yeah.
nah. So now I try to, I cut out as many but I try to leave some in there to make it
Yeah.
go naturally. Like, yeah. I'm not frozen, am I?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I just had nothing to say. Sorry. That you can keep in there.
So okay, so all right. So with everything that was going on this past year, with all the scandals, and especially with gymnastics and the Olympics and Simone Biles and all that,
Mhm.
it, are you happy with the direction they're taking gymnastics now?
The direction, yes. There's, when something is as massive as USA Gymnastics, the governing body for our sport in the country, when something's that big, it takes a long time to get to where we got, where things got uncovered and discovered, and it's going to take a long time for it to get where it needs to be, but we're definitely going there. It's not happening perfectly, it's not happening quickly, and a lot of people feel as though it should be happening more perfectly and a lot quicker, but it is moving in that direction, and that is a very important thing. It's like a pendulum thing. We were way the hell over here, and now we're doing some stuff way over here, and we're trying to find our way to that middle ground. But there's a lot of major changes that have been implemented, and it's all to fix what happened. And unfortunately, it was so far gone that I didn't even realize how many things I was accepting and enabling because I thought, oh, that's just our sport. When you grow up in it, there's just certain things that you don't see. You don't see the forest for the trees, you just are in it. So, there's a lot of relearning for everyone involved, but I will say with what happened with Simone at the Olympics, that is a very real thing, and I just did an interview yesterday, um, and I said that the best way that I can explain what happened to Simone at the Olympics is if there was a pilot flying a plane and he got struck with sudden blindness, would you want that pilot to keep flying that plane? No. You want him out of there, and you take the co-pilot and you put the co-pilot in the pilot seat, and you keep plugging along. And that's what she did. And it has nothing to do with not being able to handle the pressure, not being up for it or whatever. She literally was lost in the air every time she went up in the air and started to twist. And that girl does so many twists and flips at the same time that for her, especially, to not have a full, solid, concrete feeling of where she is at every moment, it's dangerous. She would have left in a wheelchair or worse. So years ago, not even years ago, last Olympics, with the team coordinator that was ahead in charge at that time, this would have been a very different story. I don't know what exactly it would have been, but it would not have been a situation where an athlete could flat out say, I am not safe to continue. I need to pull myself out. And that right there is a testament to the changes that are happening in gymnastics, that an athlete can actually advocate for themselves. And so it's not, I'm not happy what happened with her. I wish that she could have been her Simone self that we're used to. I shouldn't say Simone self, but the Simone athlete that we know. But the fact that she wasn't and she could get out of that situation safely, then that's huge for our sport.
Yeah, it is. It's like how you said. I can't imagine not doing all those flips and not being able to know if you're gonna land it correctly or knowing how. And I understand. And for the people and the way she was attacked and everything, it was just ridiculous. And I just felt I felt that, hey, if she needed to take the mental, she needed to take a break. Then that she knows what her body limitations are. She knows, hey, I'm not in my right mind to do this,
No,
and
it's like
that's like
having
anyone.
vertigo. It's like
Yeah,
vertigo. You're just like you can't sense it. And anybody thinks that Simone Biles can't handle pressure, they're freaking crazy. She can
she has the
handle
medals to
pressure.
prove it. Yeah, she has the medals to prove it.
Yeah.
It's not like she doesn't have the medals to prove it. She does.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she did what she did, and I'm glad everything that's transpired is coming out into light, and these girls can move on, and now we can protect the future. We
Yep.
can protect the future from whatever it was. I, to for it to be such a huge sport, I guess it was just different times. Now with social media and everything,
Mhm.
and and everything that's going on, everything gets exposed eventually. So again, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm excited because I see some of the future gymnasts. They're amazing. Some of the girls that just competed this past Summer Olympics,
Yeah.
and it's exciting to see these young women have the opportunity to really show what they have, and not be afraid of being. Yeah, man. I can't. I don't know, man.
Well,
It's a big thing for me.
there's two aspects too. Like one, up until this Olympics, last one we had some older athletes, but typically in the past few decades, this has been a sport where you've got 15, 16-year-olds as the elders on the team. You
Yeah.
know, they're coming through the system and they're so young and they're so impressionable and they are not provided the opportunity to advocate or speak for themselves at all. And now what's happening is we had an entire team that were adults. They're all 18 and over. That was used to be unheard of. So we've got that situation right there where, we can't, these are grown ass women, right? Like they gotta be able to make their own decisions. And they didn't get there not being able to make their own decisions. And the other thing is any athlete in any sport, it doesn't necessarily mean gymnastics, any sport, when you get to that elite level, you got there because you are persistent, you push yourself, you're goal oriented, you've got blinders on. You don't get there from half-assing it. So they don't need somebody to control their every move. What they need is for somebody to help them hone that in so that they don't drive themselves crazy. They're intense enough. And that was the problem too. Taking intense athletes that are really young and then putting them in a pressure cooker and controlling their every move. This is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine. But all right, let's move on from that. It's sad and everything, but now, like I said, it's looking up and things are gonna
Yeah.
in a better place. All right, so you got any funny celebrity stories or anything?
Outside of gymnastics?
Yeah,
Well,
because
sure.
you did you've done you've I'm sure you've worked with multiple, like you said, you've worked with different athletes. You just haven't worked with people in gymnastics, right?
Right. I had a stint in Hollywood. I actually went to film school and I did my internship at a soap opera, so I was on the CBS lot for about a year. Um, but during that time, I would say some of the interesting gigs that I had was I was a production assistant for Ben Stein on his he was going to do a talk show.
Uh,
Believe it or not, Mr. Personality himself was
Win
was
Ben Stein's money. I remember that.
that guy was trying to do a talk show. And, we it got to production, but that was about it. But, the one when we took I think it was like a month or 2 to get ready to do the pilot, and I was working my tail off. I was getting there super early in the morning and trying to show them, I'm part of this production team and blah, blah, blah. So, we get to a few days before the actual shoot, and I hear that Ben has selected me out of all the PAs for a very important role. And I was like, "Holy shit, I did it. I made it. Like, what's it gonna be? What am I doing?" I was put into his dressing room with his dog for about 8 hours straight while the production was happening next door. I wasn't on set. I wasn't doing anything creative. I had to sit in a dressing room
Oh, he
with
was
his
dog sitter. He was a dog
Mhm.
sitter. That was a big role for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not what the, film graduate who just busted their ass for 2 months is gonna be. I'm like, "Damn, I should have done worse in my job to be out on set." Um, but the worst part was that that dog, nothing can happen to the dog, nothing can happen to the dog. I'm like, "We're freaking locked in a dressing room, nothing's gonna happen to the dog." Well, wouldn't you know it, knock, knock, maintenance comes in. They gotta
Oh,
check something, and it's a Sunday, and who does this maintenance guy have with him? His dog. What happens within 5 seconds? Closet Ben Stein's dog takes a chunk out of his arm Now I gotta go, no pun intended, with my tail between my legs over to the studio and tell them that the one job that I had, I failed at. And they had to shut down production, take the dog to the vet. It was a scratch, he was fine, but I was
Oh
like,
man.
"Come on, man." And then I had right after that, I worked with Sharon Osbourne on her. She was before she was doing her talk show, which did okay, I think. We had a day of kind of like publicity day, so they made me her personal assistant for the day, and that woman, she's awesome. She's awesome. I went from somebody who I had to make sure that everything was facing the right direction, that when he got pizza, it was only from what's the cardboard pizza place? Domino's? Is that the gross one? Whatever the gross one is.
Oh yeah.
Certain kind of pizza, the dog, the stuff, right? And then I go, oh my God, if he's like that, this lady is going to be over the top. I went up to her and I introduced myself. I said, I'm here to help you, Miss Osborne. Anything I can get for you. And she said, oh, no, I'm fine. Can I get you anything? And I was like, "Are you what?" I didn't know what to say. And she
What?
went
No,
around
no.
oh my she was awesome. She was chatting with people, writing their phone number on her hand with marker and giving her phone number out. Her agent's like, "You can't do that, Sharon." But, yeah, that was a night and day experience. She was really, really wonderful.
Yeah, and then she got I guess they kicked her off in her last show. It's just it's to me. I don't understand the way with things. The way everything is right now is you got to watch what you say. You just can't say anything about anyone.
Yeah, that's the thing with this too, like I always with my other businesses, it's very much it's a brand and we work with children and so I've always very, very careful on social media to make sure that everything's suited to that. And the podcast was really an opportunity to be able to let loose a little bit and you have my personality and make it more geared towards adults. But yeah, I feel I don't know if you feel this, but it's like every time I edit, I'm listening over and over again. What could somebody possibly take that the wrong way and be
Yeah,
offended? And then if you explain yourself, then it's worse. And so I end up cutting stuff that probably would have made a good show. But I don't want to get kicked off my own show, quote unquote.
yeah. No, no. It's like people like some people come on and like, can I curse? I'm like, yes, cursing. I don't. It's not an issue with me. It's not a problem. I try to be like, if you don't curse, I don't trust you.
I love that. I
but
love that.
but yeah, no. And then but like I just have for the most part I don't when when I first started it was more rants about work and about the government and all the nonsense that was going on, and I just wasn't having fun. I enjoyed recording, but I wasn't having fun. And it wasn't until I switched it to interviewing people and just like I said, just focusing on putting out positive content. That's
Mhm.
when I really started enjoying myself and really started enjoying what I was doing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I made a choice on my show that this isn't going to be about current events or what's the latest gossip in our sport. That's happening already and there's a lane for that. But I made a very similar decision that this is gonna be about the people, and more importantly,
Yeah.
the personalities behind the persona, people you think you know because 'cause you've seen them on TV, you've seen them compete somewhere, you heard a little snippet of an interview, and I wanna sit down and find out who is that actual person? What makes them tick? What makes them think? Which is the name of the show. And that has been yeah, it makes it I don't wanna say it makes it safer, but it's a lot more comfortable to just focus on the people. For sure.
Yeah, it's been had some amazing guests. And I just switched the format to video as well. I was just strictly audio.
Mhm.
So in August, I had a couple, and they were branding strategists and all that. And we was just talking, and they were like, "So you don't use video at all?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been wanting to do video." They're like, "So you don't use video? You don't use video?" And they kept it. I'm like, you know what? Record. I said, I use video now, and they're like, Good job. You're coachable. That's great. So, and since then, I've made sure I've recorded the video as well, because I'm so backed up in audio that at least the videos that I've been doing lately, I can get them out and at least have some kind of content out while I'm still editing and getting the back order on audio caught up.
Yep.
But I had a guest who gave me a great idea. She was like, you know what? Why don't you do a week of, this week you're going to release episodes with female coaches, or this week you're going to release real estate brokers, or what?
Right.
And I'm like, that's not a bad idea. I'm like, and my guests vary in those types of, I'm like, I'm going to just do that. So this week is going to be all the coaches that I have back.
Oh, you're frozen again.
Backed up, female, and another topic after that, and trying to just get caught up with all these episodes.
Yeah, it's nice to have direction. It's like with social media, you kind of got to plan, and then it doesn't feel so overwhelming. You keep freezing on me though. I'm not sure if that's happening on your end.
And my show is scripted. I don't really script my show that much. I don't really script my show at all. All right, Nicole. So now's the time where you plug away. Let everybody know your social media, everything.
Yeah. So my podcast is called What Makes You Think, and it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically everywhere. And it is this season is the gymnastics season, so it's full of Olympians and world champions. And I actually just today got the interview of a lifetime with the high performance team coordinator for USA Gymnastics, who has not spoken since Tokyo, and actually walked me through step by step of the Olympics and Simone and everything that transpired there. So that's a big one. But the show it's a pretty interesting take on interviews. I surprise them with videos of themselves. I turn the sound down and I just let them talk very anecdotally about when they see that video, what does it make them think of? And you get some really cool stories. When people are faced with video from the past, they tend to remember what happened before, what happened after, rather than just asking them flat out, hey, what was it like when you blah, blah, blah. So that is the show. And it's also on YouTube. There's a playlist called Gymnastics Conversations, where single conversations pulled from the show. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Nicole Langevin Consultant. So it's Nicole, Langevin consultant.com. And my businesses are Precision Choreography, and that will be found on social media at Precision Choreo. And my Gym Judge, GYM, is also the handle for that company, and that's on all of the socials.
Awesome. All right, so it's time for my shout outs, but do not go. We're going to chat a little bit off the air once we're done here. So big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Brandy J, Poppy J. Love you guys. Big shout out to the boss lady, Fina. Love you, baby, and appreciate you. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless you. Be safe. And you know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.
Thanks for listening. Listen on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, and TuneIn. Find us on social media on Twitter at wise_b_blunt, Instagram at wise_b_blunt, and a Facebook fan page, www.facebook.com/wise76. Check back soon for new episodes. Until next time, peace out.